Time now for our chart of the day. Joining us again is Ben Watson, Senior Manager of Trading Services, Charles Schwab. What a lightning bolt Nvidia has been since April, and just all the turbulence around it. Even before April, the DeepSeek stuff is such like a back burner thing now. Dan Ives says this is going to be a $5 trillion company. What do you notice in the chart?
Well, I'll tell you what first, Diane, and good morning, by the way. We take a look at the shorter term here, and I think this really becomes kind of a portrait in resistance. And it's interesting because we can focus on the microcosm and we'll look a little bit at that larger group and that larger picture. But you see the stock trying to get through this resistance at 173 over the course of the last couple of days. And it's been making these very measured moves despite the exuberance. You get these big moves, but then it tests that resistance. And what it's doing right here at the 173 mark is exactly that over the course of Tuesday and yesterday and now today, trying to break through. Ultimately, with this pressure, you can see the ADX indicator down in the lower portion of that chart there. Above 25 is a strong uptrend, and so it hasn't really stayed up in that range for very long. It's tested, tested, tested. So you can maybe make the argument that investors are trying to chip away at this resistance level in the short term, Diane?
Okay, so trying to chip away at that level, that 173. I feel like, when you compare it to, like, say, football, it's like moving inches, right? So what do you notice when you look further out on the chart?
Well, the first thing that we look at this one-year daily chart is the fact that for the majority of this year, within kind of a broad oscillation between about that 91 level and up to this 153 resistance, this has been just a gently cycling stock. Again, I'm kind of downplaying the exuberance here because off of that April low, it has really been solidly to the upside. You see the RSI moving up into that overbought range, pressure to the upside, pushing and pushing. So then the question becomes for investors, where does it go from here when it's at all-time highs? And that's always a technical analysis challenge. So I put the Fibonacci retracements on here, extended that up to that 168.1 Fibonacci extension, and that puts that range out to around that 193 mark off of the 153 resistance. So that might be an answer, not a guarantee by any means, but it puts some context from a Fibonacci standpoint to how far this just phenomenally successful and lots of things lining up, TSMC earnings as well, kind of feeding into this, that potential if it breaks out of this 173 resistance here, Diane.
All right. Thank you, Ben. That's our Ben Watson, Senior Manager of Trading Services here at Charles Schwab. Appreciate it.